Bill O'Reilly here, Friday, March 20th, 2020. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening today in America. The virus crisis is now impacting the lives of all Americans. Folks staying home, businesses closed, stock market down about 30% since New Year's Day. Secretary of the Treasury says 1 in 5 Americans could find themselves unemployed without government intervention, which is happening. But still, we will go into a recession. The Trump administration telling the country that $1 trillion will be pumped in to the economy, hopefully stabilizing it. Since January, federal, state, local governments have been working nonstop to combat the contagion, and here's how they're doing it. On the national front, the Trump administration has suspended global travel from places like China, Europe, and most recently Canada. The White House issuing guidelines for a 15-day plan to slow the disease, even recommending, but not requiring at this point, the closure of all restaurants, bars, movie theaters, and nightclubs. States like Ohio have closed all the schools, possibly until fall. Some towns like Hoboken, New Jersey, have implemented curfews. West Virginia recorded its first case of the virus this week. The state's geographical isolation, low population, few large cities have spared it most of the virus horror. San Francisco issuing the strictest response in the nation, dictating a, quote, shelter-in-place order reserved commonly for mass shootings or terror attacks. Residents are instructed to stay home, only leaving the house for food, medicine, and emergency supplies, but enforcement in the Bay Area is largely symbolic. There is some good news to report. Doctors say social distancing is very effective in stopping the contagion. China has mostly stopped it, and South Korea is on track to defeat the virus as well. Corona will likely cause a recession, as I said, and the president will be scrutinized, of course, over his handling of the crisis. May not be fair, but the contagion has made it harder for Mr. Trump to defeat Joe Biden this coming November. The next few weeks could decide the election. Right now, a new Harris poll says 57% of Americans believe the feds are doing a good job, and that is good news for President Trump. In a moment, listeners sound off about the plague. Right back with that. Computer systems in cars, now common. Mine has dozens of sensors, touchscreen displays, and electronically controlled transmission and more. Advanced tech is expensive to fix if and when it breaks, which is why I have Car Shield. Car Shield is affordable protection plans that can save you thousands for covered repairs, including computers, GPS, electronics, and much more. With Car Shield, you're behind the wheel of your own plan. When I'm on the road, I know that I'm covered with their 24/7 roadside assistance. If my car breaks down, I know Car Shield will provide a rental car for free while mine gets fixed. With rates as low as $99 a month, you have little to lose, so get covered by Car Shield today. Please call 800-CAR-6000 and mention code BILL. Or go to carshield.com and use code BILL to save 10%. A deductible may apply. carshield.com. Please use code BILL. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. Listeners sound off. We do this every Friday. And of course, this is the virus edition. So Richard in Miller Place, New York, that's on Long Island, asks, it seems so many individuals still can't get the virus tested, but all of our professional athletes seem to be getting tested quickly with no problem. Any thoughts, Bill? Sure. If you are a powerful, wealthy person, you'll find a test. And the Brooklyn Nets basketball team has its own physicians to look after the athletes, and those physicians do have access to testing kits. It's always been that way. The wealthy and powerful in America will get what they need in most cases. Judith Dolphin, DeForest, Wisconsin. I'm a senior and retired. I watch a lot of news. to get a perspective on the terrible pandemic. Why isn't any of the press or media addressing the homeless situation? What is happening on the streets of San Francisco, New York, Seattle, and LA? Well, the homeless situation presents a vexing problem for authorities. Number one, there shouldn't be thousands of people camping on the streets. But cities like the ones you mentioned, Judith, allow it. Most of those people are drug addicted. They are not going to isolate themselves. They're not going to cooperate. You're going to have to force them into facilities in order to test them if they get the virus, whatever. They are not voluntarily coming off the streets because then they can't get their narcotics. The press will not report that story because the press wants Americans to believe that the homeless are out there because of economic reasons. They're not. It's all substance abuse, or at least most of it. So that's why it's an underreported story, and the authorities don't know what to do. John in Cliffside Park, New Jersey, I don't understand this $1,000 check for Americans. I'm retired with a small pension, and I don't need the money. I'm actually spending less because I'm not going out to bars and restaurants. The federal government cannot make a distinction, John, between you and people who really need the money. It's impossible. The bureaucracy couldn't do it. So in order to stimulate the economy, in order to keep people from running out of money, the government is going to issue checks to all. Jeff from Luthersville, Maryland. Bill, can anyone explain why Russia is not showing flare-ups of corona? I see the same in North Korea. Well, because Russia and North Korea don't have free press. So you're not going to know what's going on there, Jeff. Particularly North Korea is isolated. Nobody's in, nobody's out. Nobody knows what's going on. And Putin doesn't want anybody to know what's happening in Russia. He doesn't want the Russians to know. That government's very shaky over there. So those are all good questions. If you want to ask me anything, it's bill@BillO'Reilly.com. bill@BillO'Reilly.com. Now, let me say one thing about my website. We do a podcast every night. It is a valuable resource for you and your family because we'll tell you the truth, like we do here on the radio. We're not in business for any agenda. We don't spin anything. And these days on the virus, you need to know the truth to protect yourself in many areas. I'm Bill O'Reilly, and I approve that message by actually writing it. In a moment, something you might not know. We've all gotten an expert appraisal for things that are valuable. A realtor for our homes, an auto dealer for our cars, a jeweler for heirlooms. But you may have something even more valuable than any of those things, your life insurance policy. If you are 75 years or older with a policy worth $100,000 or more, my friend at We Buy 75 will appraise it free and show you how much it's worth in cold hard cash. So please call 844-WE-BUY-75 or visit WeBuy75.com. One word, WeBuy75.com. Imagine never having to pay a life insurance premium again. There's no greater feeling than having all that cash you need for your necessities and fun stuff too. You've seen WeBuy75 on TV, heard them on the radio, so what have you got to lose? You can get very good money. Please call 844-WE-BUY-75 or visit WeBuy75.com today. Now, the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. A century ago, the global life expectancy was 41 years old. Can you believe that? Today, that number has risen to 72 for the average human being on planet Earth. Experts say the figure could reach 90 in 80 years, if we can cut down on the pandemics, of course. A typical person's lifespan depends on genetic factors, health, personal choices like smoking and diet, and many other factors. It also depends on where you live. There's currently a 36-year gap between places with the highest and lowest life expectancies around the world. According to the Economic Forum, folks in Japan tend to stick around the longest. A healthy diet of fish and vegetables means residents in the land of the rising sun live to about 85 years old on average. The country also has the most centenarians in the world. That's 100 years plus. Switzerland next. Country is routinely ranked as the most physically active in Europe. Hello, ski slopes. Studies show the Swiss suffer less anxiety and depression than their neighbors in Germany and Italy. Average life expectancy, 85 for women, 82 for men in Switzerland. In Iceland, folks can expect to hang around until their 81st birthday. Scientists believe the cold weather might actually help you live longer. Researchers at the University of Michigan say frigid temperatures trigger genetic responses that extend a person's lifespan. And all the way down the list at number 35, right between Lebanon and Cuba, the United States of America. The average life expectancy here for a male born in the year 2000, just 76 years old. Women slightly higher, 81. But it turns out where you live in America can play a major factor. Residents in Charleston, South Carolina, and Naples, Florida, live nearly a decade longer than the national average. The worst for your health, Mississippi, just 73 years old. That's due to obesity and alcohol consumption primarily. Shortest lifespan on the planet can be found in sub-Saharan Africa. The average person in the country of Sierra Leone lives to the age of 49. Back after this. It is shocking that your home can be easily stolen. That's a lesson Deborah learned when thieves found her home's title online, forged it, and then took ownership. In an instant, thieves legally owned Deborah's home, and actually, she got evicted and spent a fortune in legal fees trying to get her house back. The FBI calls home title fraud one of the fastest growing crimes. I urge you to protect your home with Home Title Lock. Thieves hunt legal documents online, forge them, stating you sold your home, then they borrow against it, and you get the payments. No insurance or bank can protect you. Only Home Title Lock does. You could already be a victim of title fraud and not know it. So please register your home at HomeTitleLock.com and enter BILL, B-I-L-L, for 1 month of free protection. That's BILL for 1 month free at HomeTitleLock.com. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.